Oh, hey, are you thinking about moving to Huntersville, North Carolina? Well, you are in luck because today I'm going to give you a full area tour so you can feel exactly what it feels like to live in Huntersville, North Carolina. We're going to drive through the neighborhoods, we're going to check out the local spots, and we're going to go through the pros and cons of living here based on my experience from helping many families relocate here. By the end of the video, you're going to find out if this place is good for you or maybe it is not. So let's start with the vibe and feel of Huntersville, North Carolina. Now, the vibe and feel of Huntersville, it kind of feels rich, but like a farm rich. Like people here often own land, not just houses. It's a lot of quiet money and real estate money. It's a little bit semi-rural, but without being too far out. Like you're gonna see a couple horses on the drive, but you're still minutes away from shopping and dining. So it's pretty good. The community out here feels very established. I don't see many signs of a struggle. It feels real stable and well kept here. Super clean. Overall, it's a pretty balanced vibe. It's peaceful, wholesome, and very family friendly. Now with that being said, let me give you a quick overview of Huntersville and some of the famous spots that are local around here. Now our first spot is Birkdale Village. It's one of my favorite go-to spots. It's always packed with restaurants, shopping, and it's a completely walkable community feel. It reminds me of walking through a scene from Harry Potter. Now, if you're from Connecticut, it kind of reminds me of Blueback Square in West Hartford. So imagine Blueback Square, except way bigger. Way bigger. And then we have Lake Norman, which is a big draw for the weekends, water activities, and even lakefront living. A lot of people are on the lake every weekend out there, so it's really popping. And then we have Frankie's Fun Park, which is one of my favorite places that they do not have in Connecticut. It reminds me of a Dave & Buster except on steroids. So you got bowling, laser tags, VR games, arcades, go-karts, and they even have business spaces for entrepreneurial meetings. It reminds me of like a real place where a kid can be a kid, and I'm not talking about Toys R Us. And then we have local farmers markets and local events, which is pretty much a community hangout with fresh fruits, live music, and a nice small town vibe. It's super cool. And then we also have golf courses. We have Northstone and we have Birkdale Golf Club, which are pretty popular amongst the locals. And I'm not golfing yet, but I will be soon, and I will be visiting there for sure. And then we have downtown Huntersville, which is a little bit smaller and quieter, but it still has the area's charm for sure. Super cute. And now it's time to dive into our first pro of Huntersville, North Carolina, which is the great location. Huntersville is close to Charlotte without living in it, which kind of gives you the best of both worlds. Logistically, it's perfect. It is not in Charlotte, but also not too far either. I can hit up uptown real quick, I can go to the airport, and I can come right back out to the fresh air. Easy access to I-77 and I-485, and the toll lanes make the driving way faster. I personally like the fact that I can enjoy country living and still see horses on the way home after being in the city. I love that. But that great location comes at a price when everyone's trying to enjoy it too. Which leads us to our first con, traffic congestion. Weekend traffic jams and construction can and will test your patience. Traffic gets really crazy on the weekends, especially near Birkdale Village. Now, I did sit in traffic while heading there, but once I parked and walking, it felt really fine. It's definitely not New York crowded at all. Now, I-77 can feel jammed and backed up quite often. So we got tolls to take some of the edge off. Timing trips does make a big difference, and back roads gives way more options and increase your knowledge of the area. At the end of the day, it's kind of the drive that's stressful, not the destination, which is actually really good. And when the roads finally do open up, that lake is calling your name. Pro number 2, Lake Norman access. So Lake Norman isn't just nearby, it's literally part of the lifestyle here. Lake Norman is right nearby, closer than Lake Wylie if you're in Charlotte, which is great for weekend getaways or a quick break. You have lots of activities on the lakes, boating, jet skiing, fishing, and it's not just for visiting. Some of the homes out here actually sit on the lake. Beautiful. And for me personally, the lake gives me a much needed space to recharge. And you want to know the flip side of nature and open spaces? Well, a few flying roommates. And that brings us to our next cons, mosquitoes and bugs. With all the greenery and woods, bugs are a part of daily life here. Driving past farms and fields, you pick up the smells and the pests, for sure. So if you're not into the outdoorsy life, it can feel like a little bit much. Thankfully, it's easy to live if you're prepared. Now, when it comes to the bugs, they are very manageable if you're prepared. I use bug spray when I head out to wooded areas, and that helps a lot. Hosting outside is easy with a couple tricks, a couple tiki torches, a couple fans, a couple screens to kind of keep the bugs out, and it gets it done. Now, in my opinion, it's a small trade-off for what you get. Fresh air, greenery, and open space. It comes with a few mosquitoes, but they're not going to ruin my life. But bugs aside, what you really won't find here is a crowd. And that brings us to our next pro. It's not crowded. Now, honestly, I never really feel packed in whenever I'm in Huntersville. Even Birkdale Village, which is one of the busiest spots out here, still feels very manageable. On foot, it feels very relaxed. And outside of Birkdale, it feels even calmer. Like compared to uptown Charlotte, the difference is huge. But with all that breathing room, things do slow down. And that brings us to our next con, too slow and town feeling. Huntersville itself feels more like a town than a city. The vibe is not hustle and bustle. Driving past farms and horses is very normal here, and fertilizer smells or open fields can be a turnoff depending on, how you feel. However, for me, that slower vibe was the whole point that I moved down here. I love it. Now, in my opinion, I see it as a positive balance. I get peaceful nights in Huntersville, but I can dip out into Charlotte when I want some city energy. The slower pace for me usually feels less stress, and I don't really feel rushed everywhere I go. It's wholesome living, family, neighbors, and the community feels stronger when life isn't running so fast all the time. So for me, it's actually not too slow. It is just right. And this is why picking the right spot matters. That's why I created my Charlotte's Home watch list. It's full of hidden gems, builder discounts, and off-market homes that I'm tracking personally. The link's in the description, so make sure you check it out before you start your search so you don't miss homes that actually fit your lifestyle. But one thing that really brings peace of mind, healthcare access. And that brings us to our next pro, good access to healthcare. Now for me, this was a big factor in feeling safe here. Healthcare is easy to get to in Huntersville. We got both Novant and Atrium right here in town. Now having two major hospitals means way more options. So if one ER is packed, you can go to the other one without any stress. There are also urgent cares and clinics all around, so walk-ins nearby makes small stuff very simple. Now for me, it's definitely a peace of mind, especially for older folks. It makes them feel way more secure knowing that help is very close. Now, thankfully, I haven't needed it personally, but it does feel good to know that it's nearby in case I do need it. Now, of course, all of that quality does come with a price tag. And that brings us to our next con, property taxes. Now, property taxes here are higher compared to other nearby towns. It's pretty much known you will pay more to live in this area. Now, I haven't heard any direct complaints, but it's something that I've noticed when comparing against other places. And it's kind of what comes with living in a desirable spot. You get bigger lots, a good school, safe neighborhood, all plays into it. And for what you get in return, most kind of see it as a fair trade. Now, most people see the value in what they're paying for. So higher taxes, but it also is a higher quality of living. And when you stack it against what Charlotte has to offer, it kind of feels more like an investment in lifestyle than just an extra bill. But you want to know where it really pays off? The education system. Moving on to our next pro, good schools. And this one's a major win. Now, schools here are a big reasons families move in. Strong ratings and good programs across all levels. We have Huntersville Elementary, which is a 10 out of 10, and then Bailey's Middle, which is also 10 out of 10. And Lake Norman Charter is very strong too. It's a solid option at 8 out of 10. And even the high schools hold up very well here. Marincos Middle College High comes in at 9 out of 10 on great schools. And with the great schools, that means that kids can stay in the area long term. Like families don't feel the need to move for better schools because it's already here. But like most suburbs, you will need a car for just about everything. And that brings us to our next con, car dependent. Now, day-to-day living here, you will need a car. Outside of Birkdale Village, it is not walkable at all. There's also no true downtown to really stroll through. Everything's kind of spread out, so errands need driving. Groceries, schools, restaurants, all by car. If you're used to city walkability, it will feel very inconvenient here. Huntersville is built like a suburb. Parking is easy, but walking is not practical at all. Now still, that's kind of to be expected in a suburban town like this. But let's be real, no single video can cover everything about Huntersville. And picking the wrong house here, that is not just inconvenient, that is a six-figure mistake. You do not want to end up in a place that looks great online, but doesn't actually fit your lifestyle. So if you're still exploring or need help narrowing things down, feel free to reach out or book a 15-minute discovery call with me, Andrew, and I'll help you get a clearer sense of what actually could be the right move for you in the Charlotte area. And also don't forget to check out my Charlotte home watch list. It's packed with hidden gems and hand-picked homes that I'm personally tracking. Well, that's it for now. I'm Andrew, and as always, until next time, hope to show you around.